the Next in Line podcast, where we are helping to prepare you for whatever is next in line. As always, I'm your host, Chance Pitts, and I would like to thank you for tuning in to this episode. Guys, as always, a little bit of housekeeping. If you receive value from this episode or any other episode that we have put out, please make sure you're sharing this with like-minded people or someone who you think might be able to get the same kind of benefit out of this. That's the only way for the podcast to grow and move in the right direction. Also, you can help us out by checking us out on social media. That's at Next in Line Development on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Make sure you're leaving a rating, a review, or subscribing to us on whatever platform you find yourself listening on as well. Thank you to all those who have done that to this point and have helped us move into the right direction, headed that way. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much it helps us. So if you do keep up with us on social media, you probably saw that we had a pretty busy weekend. On Saturday, we traveled to College Station and took on the Tough Mudder 5K that was being hosted over there this weekend. As a group of about 5 guys that dove in head first to the mud and the water and all the obstacles, we were able to test ourselves physically and mentally, getting in there, learning things from each other. I know I definitely learned a lot from those guys out there as far as sticking with it, having grit, having determination, and just really working to be a teammate to some really, really great people with positive mindsets. Also, along with that, we had some great friends and family that traveled over there to spectate and watch us compete as well. They got some awesome pictures and videos, so be checking us out on social media to see some of those as well. Keep your eyes out for those. But thank you so much for those people that came out and supported us and showed us some love there as well. And then also, I'm training for the 100K still coming up in just under 3 weeks now. I was able to get a long run in today at 21 miles, then cap the evening off with a 3-mile walk, getting out close to an official marathon length that's close to 26.2 miles for anyone that doesn't know. But really getting some mileage in, spending some time on my feet at about 3.5 hours today. Really enjoyed myself doing that. Got to spend some time with the wife as well in the process. So it was really an exciting weekend for me, getting ready to start this work week. And I kind of wanted to give y'all a little bit more perspective into some of the things going on in my life before I dive into the topic today. So as everybody knows, like I just mentioned, I'm testing out and working towards the 100K. Lots of mileage going on. I'm running about 70 to 80 miles a week right now. Really stressing out my legs, getting myself tired. I'm also going through a few things at work. There's a management transition going on, and we're really pushing up into North Texas. So I'm spending a lot of time in North Texas, and I'm spending a lot more time as well managing some of the employees and some of the equipment in my region that I didn't have to previously whenever I first came on board with the company a few months ago. But we're moving in a very positive direction and doing some really cool things with that as well. So it's very exciting to be involved in that process, but it is also very stressful. Along with that, I'm trying to keep up with Next in Line, with the social media, with the different things going on there as well. And also, I have decided to take on Phase 3 of the Live Hard program. If you've heard any of the previous podcasts, you probably know or are familiar with 75 Hard and the different tasks associated in. However, Phase 3 adds in some other elements as well: a 5-minute cold shower, 10 minutes of active visualization, a conversation with a stranger every single day, a random act of kindness, and a power list of 8 items that you have to complete in the day. So guys, my schedule has gotten very, very hectic. It's been very strenuous. Today was a prime example of that with a long run. It threw everything off, and I am finishing things out and trying to recover at this point and get things prepped for the week. I'm very stressed out, very tired, and that has kind of become my operational state here lately. That's not to brag or show off or say that I'm trying to do all these different things. That's just to give you some insight before I dive into the example that I want to talk to y'all about, which is the importance of a positive mindset and a positive perspective. So guys, I want to run a little scenario, run a little analogy for you. So think about if you've ever flown on an airplane. If you're getting ready to go somewhere on vacation, your flight's just taking off, there's still some cloud coverage out there, you're kind of blinded by the things around you. You find yourself moving up through the clouds and climbing. Guys, you see all these different things. You feel all these different things going on. Pressure's building up inside your body. Your ears might be getting ready to pop. And you have all these different things going on around you. You've got this white haze that's overtaking the aircraft. You hope the pilot is going in the right direction. You hope he's got the right bearings about him. And you hope that he knows what he's doing. And guys, as you have all these different things running through your head, then something awesome happens. You break through the clouds. You start to see the bright sun illuminating the different clouds that are below you now. And they've got this nice orange or pink hue, this display of beauty under you that's just genuinely an awesome sight to see. And you feel a sense of freedom. For the first time since you probably dealt with all kinds of crap with work and you've been getting kind of thrown through the ringer and dealt with maybe a lot of the same similar things that I'm dealing with, or I told you earlier that I'm dealing with trying to find balance in your personal life, in your professional life, and it just kind of not going the way you want to a lot of times. For the first time since you've had all those things on your plate, you feel a sense of freedom. You feel a sense of power. You feel like you're living life on your own terms. And it's a feeling that a lot of people pay thousands of dollars for, to go on cruises or to go on flights to other places and see these beautiful things and just escape reality for a little bit. And I'm guilty of it as well. It's something I do. I think it's a very healthy thing to be able to go do these things and be a part of that mindset for just a little while. It gives you a break from the stresses that you deal with every single day. But I want you to think about something, especially in the aircraft scenario here, when you're on that plane flying out to wherever you're going to go enjoy yourself, and you've got that great sense of freedom that you've paid for and you've bought. I want you to think about something that is honestly a little bit different than that. I want you to think about that the truth is, in that moment right there, when you're on an aircraft and whenever you're moving in that direction, that sense of freedom you have, it's all perspective. And the reason I say that is because even though you feel like you are in control, even though you feel like you've got freedom and you've got ownership of your life and you're making the decisions and you're making the call, in that very moment where you feel that rush of excitement, you are less in control of your life than you ever have been. And I'm not saying that metaphorically, I mean physically. Whenever you're on that aircraft, you're trusting someone else completely with your life as you travel to your destination. The flight attendants tell you when you can buckle up and when you can unbuckle. They tell you when you can get up to use the bathroom. They tell you whether you have to wear a mask or not on the aircraft. There's not really much true freedom whenever you step into an airport and you step on a plane. Even inside of the airport, the rules and regulations are all hindering your ability to make your own conscious decisions. And so that brings up a question I have. Why, amongst all of the control and all of the oppression that you're kind of going through in that situation, do you feel the most free? Why, amongst all of the rules and the regulations, do you feel the least bound or the least controlled? Guys, it's because you're not focusing on the right now of having to follow those rules. You're not focused on the stresses of traveling and not having control of your life when you're in that aircraft. You're not focused on having to go punch the time clock. You're not focused on having to solve all of the world's problems and being the only one that can do those things. No, you're focused on an adventure. You're focused on these different things that you're going to be able to do just by following these rules and staying within the guidelines for a little while. You're focusing on the freedom that you're going to be able to experience once these rules are pulled back off of you. And you'll get to do all these grand things and experience these beautiful things when you're out there at vacation or whenever you're out there and you reach your destination. And it's a mindset of positivity. It's a mindset of optimism. But that yields another question. Why isn't this the mindset that you have every single day in life? Why do you conceal this kind of thought process and the positivity that stands behind that wall of stress that you have and all the negativity that you experience and all the rules that you have to follow on a regular and daily basis? Why do you live so high and live so free whenever you're on those adventures, and then you fall so low and you become bound by all the stress and all those things in your life whenever you're in between those moments and you're having to work and you're having to provide for your family and you're having to do all these things? And it's also like we've talked about in the past, it's not a have to, guys. It's a get to. You get to do all of these things. You've just got to have a shift in your mindset. Because if you find yourself only living for the moments whenever you get to escape your reality, you're not going to be truly happy. You can't just live for the times that you find yourself accomplishing things, the times when you find yourself being recognized for things or somebody's paying you compliments. You know, there's actually a video that's floating around, and it kind of went viral, and it's of a woman saying, I don't know what man needs to hear this, but jumping from accomplishment to accomplishment will never fill the void. And guys, while I disagree with the overall statement of that, because I do believe that goals and accomplishments are a huge part of motivating yourself and moving in the right direction and down the right path in life, I think that she does have some validity to her statement. I think that you have to learn to love the points that are in between the highs. Or maybe you don't necessarily have to love these points, but you have to understand how they work and why they're there. And you got to learn how to master these points. You've got to learn how to make them work for you rather than against you. Because if you can do that, then you will live a life that is full of meaning. You'll have a life that's full of fulfillment. Think about your job, guys. If you work 5 days a week just to escape for 2 days at the end of that week, what kind of life is that, guys? That means that about 70% of your week sucks. It means that you're not enjoying yourself, you're not living the life you want to live for 70% of your week, just to have 30% of that same week living on your terms. And who the hell really wants something like that? Who wants to make that kind of deal? What kind of trade-off is that? Not to get political, but kind of like Donald Trump always says, that's the worst trade deal in the history of trade deals. And it's not something that works for people. Often people get burnt out and they end up needing a getaway or a vacation, and they're just jumping from high to high to high and not living during the lows. They're just going through the motions, and it causes all kinds of turmoil and many other aspects of your life as well. And guys, the vacations work the same way. If you only get not even a month's worth of vacation, so say if you get a month out of the year where you're truly enjoying yourself, and you have 11 months where you're working and busting your ass and really hating everything you're having to go through, all the stress and all the anxiety and all the depression of having to work that job and do these things, that percentage is even worse whenever you sit down and you do the math of how your weeks are optimized, and that's 70% to 30%. And guys, I'm not saying that you have to love all these crappy times. You don't have to love the lows, but you do have to keep living while you're in those. Don't just put your life on autopilot. Don't let someone else take control of your life. If you have aspirations or goals or dreams, go to them. Try to figure out how to achieve that for your life. Find a way to bring that into your life. Guys, I'm a strong believer that we were meant to do more on this earth than just work 9 to 5. With a bigger purpose than retiring at the age of 65 whenever we can't get around. To me, those things are minimums. Those are safety valves for us. Those are the break glass in case of emergency. If all else fails, here's you a little safety net. But guys, that's not meant to be the goal. You're meant to go after something bigger than that. You're meant to dream bigger than that. And that's why you get excited whenever that plane takes off and your perspective changes and you get a new outlook. You see that adventure on the other side of things. That's why the vacations and the adventures mean so much and feel so right to you. It's the way that you were meant to live your life. Now, I understand that you can't have one without the other. You've got to have the yin and the yang. You've got to have balance in your life, whatever. But what would you do if you were finally able to build a life that you didn't have to escape from every single time you clock out on Friday? And guys, that's something I challenge you to do. I challenge you to evaluate your goals, figure out where you want to be, evaluate your dreams, and then come up with a plan. And then go find a way to get it. Guys, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Next in Line podcast. As always, make sure you check us out on social media. That's at Next in Line Development on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And always be prepared for whatever is next in line.